Picture the last firework you watched tear open across the night sky. That deep red, that shimmering green, that flash of gold. Now ask yourself a simple question. Where does the color actually come from? Most people assume it works like paint, that somewhere inside that shell is a splash of red dye, a squirt of green, a bit of blue, all waiting to be flung across the sky like colored ink. But here's the strange truth. There is not a single drop of dye inside a firework. Not one. The color you see was never painted on anything. It was, in a sense, invisible until the exact instant it exploded. And if you think you already know the real answer, that different metals simply burn at different temperatures, I have some bad news. That's wrong too. The truth is far stranger, and it hides a problem that has frustrated chemists for over 100 years. Welcome to Breakdownz, the story behind everything. Today we're unraveling why fireworks glow in colors at all, and why one particular color is considered the holy grail of the entire craft. To understand the color, we first have to understand the darkness that came before it. Because for almost the entire history of fireworks, there was no color at all. Fireworks were invented in China well over 1,000 years ago when alchemists searching for a potion of immortality accidentally mixed the first black powder instead. Packed into bamboo and paper tubes, it banged, it flashed, and it threw off showers of sparks. But for century after century, those sparks came in exactly one shade: gold. That gold isn't a chemical color at all. It's just stuff getting hot. When you heat tiny flecks of charcoal or metal until they glow, they shine gold, orange, and white, the same way a piece of iron glows in a blacksmith's forge. This is the one and only place where temperature really does create the color you see. And for hundreds of years, gold sparks were the absolute limit of what anyone could do. So what finally broke fireworks out of their golden prison? The answer arrived in 1786 from a French chemist named Claude-Louis Berthollet. He created a new compound called potassium chlorate, a substance that released oxygen so aggressively it could push a flame to far higher temperatures than ordinary gunpowder ever could. It was temperamental and dangerous, but it was hot. And that heat was the key that unlocked everything. Because it turned out that the secret to color was not a dye you added. It was a metal you chose. Sometime in the 1830s, pyrotechnicians, many of them Italian, began mixing specific metal salts into their formulas. And when those metals were heated to Berthollet's new extreme temperatures, something almost magical happened. They began to glow in brilliant, saturated color. But not because of the heat itself. Here's the part almost everyone gets wrong. Every element on the periodic table has its own private arrangement of electrons. When you blast a metal with intense heat, its electrons absorb that energy and jump outward into a higher, unstable orbit. An instant later, they crash back down. And as they fall, they spit out that borrowed energy as a single, precise color of light. That color is a fingerprint. It never changes. Strontium always burns a deep, unmistakable red. Barium always throws a vivid green. Sodium, the same stuff in your table salt, blazes an intense yellow. It's not the temperature painting the sky. It's the identity of the atom itself, revealing what it's made of. If that sounds familiar, it might be because you've seen it before in a high school chemistry class when a teacher holds different powders in a flame and each one flares a different color. That classroom trick has a name. It's called a flame test. And a fireworks show is simply that same experiment scaled up and launched half a mile into the air so we can make red, we can make green, we can make gold and orange and yellow, which raises an obvious question. If it's this simple, Why is one color still so rare that it's whispered about like a legend? That color is blue. Blue is the great white whale of pyrotechnics, and the reason comes down to a cruel accident of chemistry. The only practical way to make a true blue is with a fragile compound called copper chloride. And copper chloride has a fatal weakness. If you heat it above roughly 1200 degrees Celsius, it does not glow brighter. It simply falls apart and dies, washing out to a dull, dirty white. Now remember what we just learned. To get vivid color, you need extreme heat. A fireworks star typically burns somewhere between 1500 and 2000 degrees, which means the blue is being destroyed by the very heat that every other color depends on. To make a real blue, a chemist has to thread an almost impossible needle, hot enough to shine, but never hot enough to break. Too cool, and the blue is faint and lifeless. Too hot, and it vanishes. The window is razor thin, and hitting it consistently across an entire bursting shell is the mark of a true master. And it explains something you may have noticed without realizing it. There's an old saying among pyrotechnicians. If you want to judge the skill behind a fireworks show, don't watch the reds or the golds. Anyone can make those. Watch the blues. A deep, clean, electric blue is one of the hardest things to achieve in the entire craft. So the next time you tilt your head back and watch the sky explode, you'll know the secret hiding in the light. There is no dye. There is no paint. What you're really watching is a chemistry experiment written in fire. Every red is a strontium atom announcing itself. Every green is barium. Every stubborn, hard-won blue is a tiny miracle of temperature and timing. You're not looking at decoration. You're reading the periodic table, spelled out in light, exploding one element at a time. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden story behind this simple thing, take a second to hit like, share it with someone who'd never guessed the truth, and subscribe for more surprising breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.